Imagine, it's 2019 and your For You page is filled with poorly choreographed teenagers dancing to the nation's latest hits, garnering millions of likes and shares. This epidemic of cringe has a chokehold on today's youth, and you can't understand why. Hello everyone, my name is Caitlin, and today I'm going to be talking about Addison Rae's Rebrand and how it is a work of art. Thank you for all the positive views I had on my last video. This will be my second video to this channel, and I'm hoping to make many more, so let's just get straight into it. If you don't know who Addison Rae is, she first gained her popularity on TikTok back in 2019 with her dance videos and collaborations with the likes of Charlie and Dixie D'Amelio. And later, she formed celebrity friendships with Khloe Kardashian and Charlie XCX. Now, if you were anything like me in 2019, a painfully ironic 17-year-old with a give 'em hell attitude, then you could too understand the cringy ignorance of this type of content. I wasn't interested in it at all. It was a display of rich entitled kids gaining an enormity of success for no apparent reason, but it gave other teenagers the hope that they themselves could become friends with a Kardashian and live in a $6 million mansion from posting a 15-second lip sync. This $6 million mansion I mentioned is officially known as the Hype House, which is also the name of the reality TV series that followed the lives of the TikTokers that lived in the home, including Addison Rae, and how they came up with their gripping content. The concept of this house was to bring young and popular creators together to keep those creative juices flowing. You know, videos like this. Addison's stay at the Hype House was quite short-lived, as she started to take her career more seriously, and she started to branch out from these short TikTok dances to longer-form content like YouTube videos. Addison also had a deal with Netflix for the film She's All That, which is a modern and gender-swapped version of the 1999 He's All That. Now, this film has already been ripped to shreds, so I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but it was bad. So up until this point, Addison has been involved in these small and insecure projects that keep her name trending, but for all the wrong reasons. When people think of her TikTok videos, they think of these small, insignificant, cringy videos. And when they think of her acting career, they think of this cringy, uninspiring movie that does nothing to highlight Addison's talents. So it was incredibly easy to group Addison in this idea of a social media star who does nothing to showcase their talents or improve their skills, to give the audience a well-formed and performed piece of content. When I thought of Addison Rae back in 2019, I thought of her as a shallow and entitled TikToker who was entirely money-oriented. To me, she didn't care about the quality of her work, only the fame that it would bring. And whether that was true at some point or another, it certainly isn't now. So in 2021, Addison came onto the music scene with her debut single, Obsessed, and then later came out with an EP. The song is really cheesy, and in my opinion, it's what you would get if you asked an AI chatbot what a generic electronic pop song would sound like. The lyrics are incredibly surface level, and the vocals aren't anything special either. One critic described the song as a perfect example of a non-musician trying to make generic pop music because it's easy, profitable, and their fans will eat it up. This is not being made for the love of music. It's a harsh thing to say, but it's incredibly true. There is nothing unique or outstanding about the lyrics or the production of this song. In between her introduction to the music industry, she was also working on a makeup line and a fragrance line that were both ultimately discontinued. And although she had received criticism in every aspect of her career, with music she kept going. In 2021, Addison was also seen with Charlie XCX a lot, and they reportedly met while she was recording her album Crash, and Addison was starting to write her own music. In 2023, Addison releases her EP titled AR, and one of the songs, To Die For, features Charlie XCX. This EP was incredibly more well received than the first single. The production and overall lyricism was much better. It still wasn't amazing, but it defied the expectations of what the general public had for a cringy TikTok star. The songs are catchy and poppy, and something I would probably expect to hear on the radio. And the lyrics, although still quite tame, did start to become more bold, with verses like, I've got nothing on but the radio. Overall, the whole EP was just much more musically interesting than the first single, Obsessed. I found myself enjoying it much more than I thought I would. The songs are catchy, and it's something you can tap your foot to. And I think it's a reasonable assumption to make that her budding friendship with Charlie has had a positive influence on her music. Then, in March 2024, Addison is featured on Charlie XCX's remix version of Von Dutch, where we hear this iconic scream. It may be just a scream, it's showing off Addison's carefree and fun personality. It grabbed our attention a little bit and got us thinking about Addison Rae in a whole new light. I remember seeing this video and thinking, oh, is that Addison Rae? At this point, I'm 21 and I've forgotten all about this TikTok star that I saw back in 2019. And I think it's quite cool how she's collaborating with the likes of Charlie XCX. And if Charlie, who is a pop legend, can give her a chance, then maybe I can too. Then Addison releases Diet Pepsi, and this is my formal apology to Miss Addison Rae because I was not familiar with your game. Now, this is a good song. No if, buts, or maybes. It's a genuinely good track with cheeky and sexy visuals and lyrics. This is her most interesting and captivating work to date. The song and the music video have finally introduced us to an Addison Rae that cares. You can clearly see the work that has been done behind the scenes to create something of artistic and, of course, monetary value. So the music video for Diet Pepsi features Addison in the passenger seat of a 1972 Cadillac, singing the song to a male love interest while she strips down to her underwear. By the way, the actor who plays the male love interest in this music video is Drew Van Acker, who played Jason De Laurentiis in Pretty Little Liars, which was one of my favourite TV shows growing up. And I'm actually working on a video about Pretty Little Liars, so watch out for that one. There are also other visuals that feature Addison whipping her hair back and forth, eating a banana split while in the splits, and draping the American flag across her body. And of course, stopping at the petrol station for a nice cold can of Diet Pepsi. It's an incredibly mischievous and sexy music video with some fun and striking visuals. It's unexpected, extremely feminine and youthful, with some lyrics such as, "When we drive in your car, I'm your baby, so sweet, losing all my innocence in the backseat." And "Break all the rules till we get caught, fog up the windows in the parking lot." She basks in this American dream and uses her sexuality to cement herself in our minds as a flirty, all-American girl whose sensuality is a key factor to her artistry. Historically, American society has always been quite suppressed and conservative when it came to sexual representation. Now, of course, there are many factors that contribute to this, but one of them being that America is a majority Christian country with very strict views on purity and no sex before marriage. But it seemed that sexual expression was more socially accepted when it was geared towards the male gaze and how that benefited them. American writer Dashiell Hammett once said, "You don't pay a prostitute for sex, you pay her to leave afterwards." Now, I'm not comparing Addison's music video to sex work, but I did want to mention how prudish society was in America, and in many ways still is, and how that affects artists like Addison Rae who use their sexuality as a profitable source of income and success, and how that is seemingly a bad thing. In other words, the profitability and permittance of women using their bodies and sexuality to fuel their artistry is only acceptable when the profitability and permittance is coming from men. Things have started to shift though, and we are seeing more and more people celebrate these topics, with the likes of Sabrina Carpenter and Olivia Rodrigo, who also share some of those topics and ideals. So after this, Addison releases 4 other singles that continue on in this all-American lustiest style. Now, these singles eventually lead to the release of her debut album, Addison. It received mostly positive reviews from critics and audiences, and it was truly shocking to those who, like me, had mostly forgotten about Addison Rae. Now, is the lyricism on this album to be compared to the likes of Emily Dickinson or Sylvia Plath? Absolutely not, but the artistry is there. Addison proved to audiences that she can take on board valid criticism and strive to achieve something. That willingness to learn and adapt and deliver something new and fresh to the music scene is incredibly admirable, especially taking into consideration the state of mainstream music nowadays. Mainstream music today is apprehensive and taking risks. It aims not to excite or shock audiences, but ensure that financial success is achieved. Now, of course, to function, artists and labels need financial stability, but at what cost? This is why many songwriters would prefer to be so-called starving artists than successful and devoid of any art. So the Addison tour has been ongoing since August of this year and will conclude in November. Addison's approach to her shows have a remnant of the Britney Spears style back in the early 2000s, with low-rise jeans, sparkly tops, and lingerie as outerwear. And although her costumes are always fabulous, Addison has taken a more raw and stripped-down approach when it comes to her makeup and styling. She's frequently seen without any makeup or any hairstyling, which to me seems very intentional. Addison is someone who has frequently worn makeup most of her career, and like I said before, she even had her own makeup line. So to take this approach with her debut album on her very first tour, introducing herself to the world without anything hiding or disguising her face, is incredibly beautiful, especially in this society where women are constantly taught that their version of beauty doesn't fit the standard of that year. It's so refreshing to see a young woman who is confident in herself and her skin and her body and reflects that to her audiences. It's a power move for Addison and her career, and I feel like it establishes herself as an artist who isn't afraid to take risks and receive criticism. I feel like Addison is such a perfect example of what criticism is there for. It's not a way to take a skillful jab at someone or their artwork. It's a much needed form of analysis that serves as a tool for personal and professional growth in a truly valuable way. This album makes it very clear that Addison is taking this shift into the music industry very seriously, and those personal goals that she has set for herself are really important for her to reach. Now, although this album is fun and a huge improvement from where she started, Addison still has a long way until she can truly earn her seat at the pop star table. But I'm rooting for her, and I really think that she will get there. In the album's third track, Money Is Everything, Addison sings, "And the girl I used to be is still the girl inside of me." So while this video is about Addison's career rebrand, it's also important to realise that the potential and the personality that is Addison Rae is also the young woman that she is and was always destined to be, whether she chose to share that with us or not. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed what I had to say, and I hope it was interesting to you. Please do share your opinion down in the comments, leave a like, and of course subscribe, and I will be back with another video soon.